Welcome to the Real Film Nerds Podcast.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to your second week of October break, I guess is what I'm going to go with. From the Harvest Horror Fest, we got 1 week down, but now we are back to seeing the film that we were supposed to do last week, but things happen, theaters suck, storms suck, flooding sucks. Life just sucks sometimes for the East Coast. But here we are, Real Film Nerds, episode number 394. We're going to chat about the film we teased last week or 2 weeks ago or both weeks. Lee, with me as always, my good friend who is living on the East Coast and bracing for another wonderful weather system to come plowing through. Hopefully this one is not as destructive in his hometown that we will not name. Well, it's not your hometown. Your hometown is here. But your current city, which we will not name, but it is on the East Coast. Mysterious Miguelito Talento.
Hey, everybody. Yes, that's El Talento to you.
El Talento.
Yeah. Yeah, man. This movie is definitely kind of getting pushed out of the theaters in my area, and I'm not sure why, but I guess they've decided it's not for the public to see at the theater.
So, question, Mike, have you learned your lesson from the last storm, and did you go and buy a generator yet?
No, I don't have a generator.
All right. I was talking with one of my buddies actually today about generators, and he was talking about actually giving praise to the Predator series at Harbor Freight because he has a nice, expensive Honda that he uses when he's out camping and stuff, and he's like, it's so quiet. One of his friends has a Predator, and he's like, he was really impressed. And the Predator's like a third the price of the Hondas. So, anyways, back on topic. The film is Lee. Mike, what'd you think?
So Matt, I really liked it. It's intense. I knew it would be intense because of the subject matter, but I really liked it, man. This was a cool story, and I don't think I knew some of the impacts of some of those photos and stuff, like where they came from, and that's pretty amazing.
Well, Mike, before we get rolling too hard, why don't you give us the breakdown?
All right, man. I will do that. This movie, Lee, was directed by Ellen Kuras. It was written by Liz Hanna, Marion Hum, and John Cawley. And the story was by Liam Dubs. And it was based on a book, The Lives of Lee Miller. And this movie is starring Kate Winslet and Andy Samberg, Alexander Skarsgård, Marion Cotillard, and Andre Weisborough. The story of American photographer Lee Miller, a fashion model who became an acclaimed war correspondent for Vogue magazine during World War II.
All right, Mike, so you already gave your first impressions a little bit. We'll get more into it. But I have a lot to say about this film, but I will try not to say too much. Being a former photojournalist, being a wannabe war photographer, but never got to do it, probably a good thing. Personally, I love this film. I've known about Lee Miller and her work for a little bit. I studied her a little bit in college, but I did not know everything like what this film has portrayed. And not to jump right to the end of the film, but that's kind of one of the things they explain towards the end of the film is that Lee was very secretive with her life and what she did and how she did it. And she didn't even tell her own family basically what she did during World War II. And the novels and all the stuff done came out long after she was gone. And so it's kind of sad that she could have had all this praise and everything, but she just chose not to, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure she had her reasons. She seemed like she's a very strong character. So whatever those reasons may be, maybe she just wanted to leave. Maybe she thought that people would think that it was about her, like she was trying to make, bring herself back into the fame or whatever. Because I feel like she was somewhat famous when she was a model. I don't know.
She was. Yeah.
The movie didn't quite talk too much about her real early years. They just kind of mention it more in passing, really.
Yeah. She was. They consider her one of the very first what you would call a supermodel. Back then, they didn't really have them named supermodels, but in the 30s and 40s, she was considered one of the first supermodels ever, which is incredible.
Yeah, yeah. And then it was interesting that I think she just started did she say it was a passion or something she just liked doing? She said she liked taking pictures of people.
Yeah. So what happened is she transitioned from modeling into photography, specifically doing fashion for Vogue and doing photos of other models and people that she had befriended as a model. And then that kind of morphed, as you see in the film, because that's where the film actually starts picking up. As you see in the film, she morphs that into being a war correspondent because she really wanted to go to Europe and do her part. Like a lot of people during that generation, they wanted to do their part, and she felt that was how she could do it, was with her camera.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was an interesting thing, too, because the camera, to use it, was so different. Like, taking those pictures, dude, like, that was such a different way of doing pictures.
Even back then, during World War II, and you see it with Andy Samberg's character, who also is a real-life photojournalist, obviously, David Sherman, she chose to use a Rolleiflex, which is even in World War II, a pretty old camera.
Wow.
Because if you see David Sherman, he's running around with a Leica 35 millimeter.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I don't know if it ever said the models or whatever, but I did notice they were drastically different.
Yeah. But so hers is your typical Rolleiflex. Rolleiflexes are cool. They're a lot of fun. It has a lens above the actual lens, and the lens hits a prism and then shines up. That's why she's looking down. And it's not exactly 100% perfect because it's not a single lens reflex. So it's off a little bit because the lens of the actual camera is below the lens you're looking through. But that's how you use it. You look through, and when you're looking through it, it's actually upside down.
Oh, weird. Okay. Well, I guess she got used to seeing the world upside down.
I think she just got used to using the Rolleiflex when she was doing the fashion stuff, and it makes a nice square negative. It's not a 35 where it's a rectangle. It's a square. And a lot of photographers get comfortable with what they know and what they use, and they just stick to it. And nowadays, digital's all over the place. There is medium format digital, but it's not real popular. Most digital now is multiple different sizes. I can go on and on, but I won't. But there's full frame, which is the size of a 35 millimeter piece of film the sensor is. So.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But I thought all that detail was awesome. I don't think they went into some of the detail about how she would be getting it developed and all that stuff with the film, but that's okay.
That's one of my complaints. Yeah. That's one of my complaints with the film. But Mike, you want to hear something really, really cool?
Yeah, I do.
Kate Winslet learned how to shoot the Rolleiflex for the film. So when she's doing the photography at certain scenes that she's recreating some of Lee Miller's most famous World War II photographs, and you see them at the end of the film, she's really doing that on screen.
Wow. Yeah. No, I was going to say, we didn't even, I guess that's more... We'll talk about that later. But, dude, that's awesome. That is really cool that she learned how to do it enough to, Kate Winslet in this movie was awesome. Incredible. So was Andy Samberg, dude. He was they were both,
incredible. Andy Samberg, he needs to be nominated, dude. Who knew he's a wonderful, wonderful comedian. And historically, we've talked about it on the podcast before, but historically, comedians are very, very good actors when they expand out. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And Andy Samberg, dude, he held his own against Kate Winslet in one of his very first dramatic roles. Fucking phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He needs to be nominated.
It was really, really, really good. I don't, this movie might get nominations because it was so good, and it's kind of about, photography and some World War II and like even women's stuff. Like there's a lot of like, she had to deal with a lot of, women can't be in war and you can't be here and all this stuff. And like, man, she was a tough lady to just try and like persevere through all that stuff. Like she really wanted to do her part and just kind of be there. And I think just show the world stuff that wasn't being really shown, I guess, and just not making it out. Like,
yeah. Well, and that's one of the things my mom observed, when we saw the film, because we watched the film together, and she loved that she covered the stuff that nowadays someone like me, a former photojournalist, would have done back then. She covered the whole thing. She didn't just spend the time on the front lines. She was in the tents getting pictures of the nurses helping, the doctors doing surgery. She was getting pictures of the guys, prepping for going out. I mean, she was doing the complete photojournalist package. And in World War II and even in Vietnam, a lot of that kind of went by the wayside. It was more about the action and being on the front lines. And she did the whole thing.
No, I really thought that the one scene where she's not allowed to go into the hangar, she's at some air base.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Yeah, but she ends up going to see like I guess the women's pilot quarters or whatever, and runs into this one woman, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't get to fly in combat, woman, but I get to fly the planes to get them places." Like she like moved them around to help.
They're known as farriers, and that was very, very commonplace during World War II. Not so much during Vietnam, but during World War II, the women would ferry the new planes across the Atlantic from the United States.
Wow. Yeah. No, I thought that was a really cool scene, actually. I thought it was really neat. Like just her stumbling around, and then like it happens to be that farrier knew Lee Miller's work and was like, "You got to keep doing what you're doing." Like that's got to be so weird.
Yeah, she was reading the Vogue, right there in the bunker.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a kind of a similar situation happen recently to me. Not that awesome, but kind of similar. So last week, the reason why we're talking about this now is because I already saw it before it came out. And so last Thursday, when I normally would be watching a film, I went and saw your favorite band, well, one of your favorite bands, Korn.
Yeah.
With Gojira and Spirit Box. And when I was walking through the crowd, a guy grabbed me and went, Matt Hinshaw, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, "You're the Rattlers photographer, aren't you?" I'm like, yeah. And he sat there and talked to me about the Rattlers for about 20 minutes.
Oh, man.
Which was random as hell.
That is real random, dude.
But it's a very similar thing. I'm out doing something normal, and I got recognized. And I'm not in front of a camera ever. They don't even have my photo on a website or anything like that. So I didn't want to toot my own horn, but it was just kind of... It happens all the time here because Prescott's a small town, but it never happens in Phoenix. So it was kind of interesting.
Wow, dude, that's cool, man. That's real cool. Okay, so I think, Matt, we're having a hard time tiptoeing around, so I think I'm going to ask you, what are you drinking this fine morning, evening, or afternoon?
Well, Mike, thanks for asking. I found one, just a 6-pack. I'm being a good boy, though. But, Mike, I'm drinking a Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Dude,
Finally.
Awesome. You know what I found?
Are you drinking a pumpkin ale, or are you drinking something normal this week?
It's a pumpkin ale. It's a Sam Adams as well. It's called Jacko.
Dude, I had that last year. It is way too sweet for me, man. It is a very sweet beer.
I like it, man. I like it.
You like the sweetness? You like the super pumpkin?
Yeah, I like the super pumpkin.
Well, nice, man. 2 Sam Adams, 2 different cities, 2 different coasts. Good times.
Yeah. It's good times.
All right, Mike. So, your favorite part of the podcast. What is this week's photography-related dad joke?
I got dad jokes. I don't think they understand, though. Gotta think I'm funny. Other people never laugh, though. Dad jokes.
No, it's not. Well, actually, it could.
I know. That's a lot of pressure. I'm sorry, Mike.
Yeah, you put me under the pressure there.
Dude, no, just tell whatever joke you got, man.
What's a cucumber's favorite instrument?
A camera?
A piccolo.
Okay. All right. That one's okay. That one's all right.
There you go. Yeah. There's a smile there. I got him. I got him.
You got a little giggle, so we'll let you do that one. It works, Mike. It works.
All right. Woo.
So I know this was very difficult because this is a British film. I think it was even done mostly by Sky, which is an organization out of the England tied to the BBC when it comes to news. But Mike, I know it's difficult, but I have faith in you. How does Lee relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
All right, Matt. So this was a little bit tricky, but I was able to get down in the art department. I was able to find the art director, Nick Palais, and he worked on the Marvels as well as Lee. So there we go.
Well, nice, Mike. Good job. So I guess we can spoil it. I mean, this is a true story. We've already been spoiling it pretty much because it is a true story. But we'll continue our discussion about Lee. I just find it sad that it's not doing better and more people aren't going out and seeing it. And I wonder if it's just because it's not getting as much publicity here in the States, because I do not believe it is an American film. It might have American actors in it, but I believe it's mostly British and British production. But I loved it. And Mike, it had one of the bees in it that we need for a horror movie. And my God, Kate Winslet has some delicious boobies.
Yeah, no, it definitely had lots of breasts in this movie, and especially the beginning. I don't know, man. I think this is getting pushed out partly because there was the new Joker movie that came out, and they put that on a lot of screens, even though I haven't had a chance to see it, but I heard it's not so great. But we'll see.
I've heard the same thing. I'm going to go and try it, see it maybe this week, since the film we're going to be reviewing, I'm going to be able to watch from home. So I think I'm going to go to the theaters anyways.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, dude, I don't know.
Ma Hinshaw saw it.
Oh, Joker?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's my mom. Basically, as long as my mom is out of the house, she loves it. Like, I don't even know if she watches the movie. She's just like, yeah, it was great. But she liked it. She liked it a lot. She thought it was great.
Okay. Well, maybe it's okay. Maybe this is one of those ones, Matt, where the critics are just ripping it up and we'll love it.
Maybe. Possibly.
I don't know. Like, what was the one we just watched? Oh, the Hitman.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Oh, yeah, dude. The Killer's Game.
Yeah, The Killer's Game. Dude,
God,
that was great.
That movie was so much fun. That
And they
was
ripped
really
it
a lot
apart.
of fun. The fucking critics are stupid.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe it will be all right. But anyway, I don't know why this isn't doing well. Like, it's really good. The only thing that I thought was a little strange, Matt, is the storytelling of kind of from not the present, but like a more recent, because it was supposed to be what, like in the 70s?
Yeah, it was supposed to be, I think, 77, 78. It was the year that she passed away.
Yeah, like I wish that was done a little bit differently. I think it was okay for the most part, but then the end, I was like, oh, what the hell? Like, that was weird. You know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about where it came out of? I mean, if you want to spoil it, just spoil it, dude. It's fine.
Well,
I know
we
it's a
think-
big spoiler.
Yeah, it's a big spoiler, but you think you're talking to the character, or I don't know, man. I thought it was weird.
Okay. No, I got you. I thought it was a cheap way to have a kind of M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong like twist for a film that really doesn't need it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, it didn't need it at all. Like, we didn't need that.
It has a twist.
Like-
The story works fucking great on its own. You didn't need some weird dramatic twist. Just
Yeah.
tell the fucking story. That's it.
I mean, I guess because it was the interview kind of style that helped move it along a little bit. But, like, I don't know. It could have been done a little differently, I think. But anyway, I did really enjoy that at the end in the credits, we saw the famous photos.
Yeah.
And, like, they had recreated, like, a ton of them. I was like, dang, dude, that was awesome.
And like I said, they literally shot those while they were filming.
Yeah, no, that was...
Pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was. I thought they did a pretty darn good job with those. Like, yeah,
I like how the one in, like, probably the most famous one of all is the one where she's taking a bath in Hitler's bathtub. I really like how they showed that she staged it.
oh yeah,
She really, really staged it. And I thought that was great to show that, no, it wasn't just kind of spur of the moment kind of thing. Like, no, she purposely, got the dirt and the dust from being in a concentration camp, literally probably people's bodies, ashes on the bottom of her shoes, putting it on the floor, climbing in the tub. Like, fantastic, man. Getting the portrait, putting it in there, all that stuff. I mean, it was staged. And it just shows you that's how a lot of what you think of as photojournalism back then took place. There was a lot of staging kind of shit like that. Even in Vietnam.
oh okay, gotcha.
Not a ton. It does enough on its own, but God, we talked about it in photo classes all the time, beginning photo and stuff. I think we even talked about it in high school. The infamous photograph done by I'm forgetting his name. Matthew Brady during the Civil War. And it has like a soldier leaning up against a fence because, he's shooting with a wet plate collodion, and you have long exposures and all that shit. I'm really going deep down a dark hole photo-wise. But they proved that Matthew Brady grabbed like the rifles and grabbed like shit and like set it up to make it look like the dude was a soldier, and he wasn't. The guy that died was like some village person or something.
Oh man, okay.
But yeah, so people have been setting shit up since the beginning of photography almost. That was where I was going with that.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, and you see in the movie that she set up some of the shots, but a lot of times she just shot what she was seeing. So it's like, I think it just kind of depends.
Yeah, well, it's a fine balance, man. When I was, doing it day in and day out, there was set up portrait shots and set up advertising shots and stuff like that. But yet, when I rolled up on a scene of a house fire or a car accident or a news event, like say McCain was speaking or something, like I'm not stopping everyone and saying, "Hey, McCain, can you move your hands to the left?" So you gotta put faith in the viewer that they know what kind of photograph that is.
Yeah. But man, some of that stuff like that they got towards the end of the movie, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how. Like they show that they were drinking and stuff, but I don't even know how you'd handle some of that, man. That was so brutal, dude. Like feel like you'd be broken the rest of your life.
Well, and I think that's what they were kind of trying to portray. That's why Lee kind of hid what she did over there, because it probably haunted her for the rest of her life, even though she didn't do it. She was just documenting it, seeing the ovens and seeing piles and piles of shoes and bodies. And I mean, it's insane. And Mike, if you think about it, that was not that long ago. Like, it hasn't even been 100 years, not even 100 years since that shit happened.
Yeah.
Like, there's still people in this world that grew up during that time frame. Now, most of
just barely.
the soldiers that served and stuff have passed on, but
The thing that also, I'm forgetting the name of that movie. Matt, what's the name of that movie where we watched and it was about the people that worked at the concentration camp, like that officer?
Yeah, it was up for nominations, Best Picture this year.
Yeah.
I was talking about it just yesterday, and I totally am spacing on the name.
Okay. Well, there's a moment in this movie where I feel like it was almost showing the people that did that. And I was.
It possibly could have been that concentration camp. I don't remember which one Lee Miller went into, to be honest.
Yeah, but
I really don't.
But there's that part where the kids are kind of playing soccer,
Right.
and they can't breathe because of the smell.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like that was that kind of situation. So, anyway, I was just like, oh man, yeah. It was, I knew it was going to be a little bit rough to watch, but man, that was pretty brutal. And then coming back and then not getting your photos like published. Oh man.
Well,
and
they
totally
did publish it,
yeah, but it was in America.
but it
right?
was in the American Vogue because they said it was too disturbing to publish in the British Vogue. I don't know, dude. That sounds like a cop-out to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when the British,
Well, they were the ones
Like the
being bombed every day. We weren't,
yeah, the publisher or the head lady who's in charge of the British Vogue,
Yeah.
when she said the reasons why the magistrate or whatever denied it, all that stuff makes sense. That's something a government would do.
It does. It does make sense, but it doesn't make it any, I don't know.
No, it doesn't make it great. I'm not saying it's it's just, I could see that 100% happening.
Yeah.
Like, we just came out of a war or we're winning or whatever. We're not publishing this.
Right. I am trying to remember the name. I'm looking up my diary and I'm not even finding it in my movie review diary. Because it wasn't that, it was this year.
Well, I mean, technically it came out last year.
Yeah, but we watched it this year, didn't we?
Yeah, we watched it this year in like February.
Oh, that's what I thought. It was, dang it, why am I not finding this?
Maybe March.
Why am I drawing such a hard blank on it? Zone of Interest.
That's it. Yeah, Zone of Interest. Yeah.
Zone of Interest. My bad. I should have known that because literally I was talking about it yesterday, but this is one of the problems when you get old. You forget shit.
Yeah. No, but this was an amazing movie. It was very interesting that it seemed like there was an opportunity for her to come home, like come back to London and leave. She was mostly in France, right? Or
she was in France,
in Germany,
for the war. But yeah, she was, I believe, living in London with an American of all people. Wasn't he American or was he British?
No, he was British.
He was British. She was the American. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess they got married. They never explained any of that, like whether they were married or not or anything. It just kind of.
I don't know if they ever got married, but they were definitely life partners. I mean, they had a son together, so.
Yeah, and he outlived her by quite a bit. But I mean, they implied in the movie that she drank heavily, and it only continued to probably get worse after the war.
And smoked a lot. I mean, dude.
Oh yeah, dude, the movie. Oh yeah, that was another thing. She's smoking a cigarette every single scene in the movie. I feel like
It makes you want to go smoke really bad, and you just can't. At least I can't anymore.
Well, I don't have those urges, but I didn't ever smoke. But yeah, man, they had her lighten up. And I know it's kind of a sign of the times. People did smoke a lot.
Yeah, it was especially a wartime correspondent watching all that murder and death and all around him. Yeah, dude, you'd be smoking a lot too.
And then at the same time, also, the cigarettes back then were better. You know, they didn't put as much crazy stuff, less chemicals.
All about them Lucky Strikes.
It's just more about that wacky tobacco.
Well, Mike, I was going to say, I mean, I know that's what you like to smoke.
Oh, yeah. No, it's about tobacco, man. Like, that's all those cigarettes had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it was a good movie, but it was tough. You think it'll be nominated, Matt? Do you think this will get anything?
I don't know, man. I would like it to be. Personally, I would like it to be, but I don't know if they're going to. I'd like to see Kate Winslet get nominated. I'd like to see Andy Samberg get nominated. I think the costuming should definitely be nominated. I think they did really well at that. Best Picture would be nice, but I don't think so. I mean, I know I'm not going to give it, a perfect score, but, I'm a picky photographer, so.
Yeah.
But, all right, Mike, well, you're falling asleep. I hear that yawn on the mic of Mike's. Mike, how many reels do you give Lee?
I'm going to give Lee 4.5 reels out of 5. It was just a little bit of the story that was a little weird towards the end. But other than that, man, I loved it.
Well, I guess I am the mean critic now. We have switched roles because I only give it a 4 out of 5. But I loved it. I just wish we talked about it earlier. I will touch on it just a little bit before you tell us what we're reviewing for next week's Harvest Horror Fest Part 2. But I really wish they would have shown how they developed the film and print and all those things. Because, Mike, do you know how they did it during World War II?
I'm not 100% sure how they did it. It was probably tougher than you could imagine.
So this is one of those things that it depended on the news agency, but most of them, they would take their rolls of film, throw them in an envelope, and mail them to their headquarters, wherever it was, and they would develop the film for them and pick the photos and do the cropping and do all that stuff.
Oh,
which
okay.
Today, as even myself, I will not let a photo out that I did not personally pick and I did not personally crop.
All right.
Now, granted, most of the time they crop it however the hell they want and they don't take my consideration in. But that's how I've done my entire career. Even when I was doing film professionally, I still would do the print, do the crop, and boom, done.
Yeah. No, I guess it was just they just trusted that. I don't know, man.
They were trying to get stuff out on the daily, and there was no other way to do it, man. There was no other way. And you've developed film, man. You took photo with me in high school. It is not an easy thing, especially when it comes to temperatures of the chemicals in the film and,
just having those chemicals.
Yeah. You just shipping it, even if it was just to the home base where, they're set up and stuff, made a huge difference. So that's what they had to do because they couldn't do it in the field. Nowadays with digital, I mean, shit. You take the picture, it hits your cell phone and goes up into the satellite, and then it's at your editor's desk within seconds. That's how it is now. That's the beauty of digital. I still miss my film every day. But anyways, Mike, so what film are we going to review for our continuing Harvest Horror Fest next week?
All right, Matt. So we are... Well, this is a tradition with our Harvest Horror Fest for the last 4 Harvest Horror Fest, we have pledged to do Friday the 13th. So we will be doing Friday the 13th Part 5 or Friday the 13th A New Beginning.
Is it really a new beginning, Mike?
I don't know. Tune in to next week to find out.
I've not never watched Part 5. I just haven't watched Part 5 in probably 20 years. I think I was probably in high school or college last time I watched it. So this will be fun. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be fun. The last one was pretty interesting. It was a pretty good Friday the 13th.
It was. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. My favorite, we talked about it last year, but my favorite is the original. Part 4 is probably my second favorite. It's very, very good for a campy horror film. Loved it. It was fantastic.
Yeah. So we will see what our hockey mask friend has in store for us this time. So, probably twice as bloody and, probably some boobs.
And new chaptery.
I don't know about new chaptery.
Well, I mean, a new beginning. Sorry. A new beginning-y.
Yeah, sure. Definitely a new beginning. So, with that, Matt, I think I'll wrap this up. Thanks for listening, everybody, and make sure to follow us on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, and we'll catch you on next week's pod. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for listening to The Real Film Nerds. Now, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Real Film Nerds. Now, go out and catch a movie.
Welcome, everyone. This is Ma Hinshaw loses her pumpkin spice cookies. Episode 84, The Motion Picture, Lee. Howdy, Mac. How's it going?
Are you trying to sound like Count Dracula?
Yes?
You're trying to sound like Ma Dracula?
Yes, I am Maud Dracula.
Is it Ma Dracula or Dracula Ma? Or is it Dracula Hinshaw?
No, Ma Dracula, yes.
Ma Dracula. Well, you need to save it for next week because this week we're not talking about a Harvest Horror Fest film. We're talking
That's right.
about the incredible, hopefully Oscar-nominated film Lee, starring Kate Winslet and Andy Samberg.
Absolutely. And I think it's fantastic. And I hope it gets nominated because I thought it was great. And I mean, I can't believe we didn't even get it in my town. Hopefully people in Tucson and Phoenix got it, but it has not been well advertised. And I think that's sad because it's really a good movie. And Kate Winslet just nailed it, being Lee Miller. And she was not a delicate, petite lady. She was dynamic and not at all what you would think Kate is in real life, but she really did a fantastic job. And I love this movie. I thought it was interesting, and maybe I'm wrong because, yes, I am challenged. But I think at the beginning when they were in Paris, the movie was in color. And then when she went to war, I think they put it in black and white. And I've never actually seen that done before. At least not that I know of. But I think they did that because her photographs were all in black and white. And they were amazing and heart-wrenching and just unbelievable, which I think added to the effect of the movie.
I think you're mistaken, Mom. The film was not in black and white when they were in war. It was a more subdued palette, but it was not black and white.
Really subdued. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. It was still color, but it was not
It was not
bright colors. It was a war zone.
No, it was not brightly colored at all. That is true. And I found it amazing how courageous that woman was, and how she basically just, because I know they had some women in the war, but not a whole lot. And I don't think they sent them to the front at all. And she forged herself ahead so that she could get photographs. And she photographed the people, how they were affected, how they had to live. I just thought it was fantastic. And I'm so glad that they told her story. I was not aware of her story at all. You were, because I don't know, maybe you studied about her, but I did not know at all about what she did. And I think it was just fantastic. And I'm glad they made a motion picture of her and her work.
Well, I talked about it a little bit on my podcast that, yes, I knew who she was, and yes, I studied her work a little bit, but this film fleshed it out quite a bit more than what I knew before I went into the film.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it did. It covered a lot of her work that, like the movie said, that she worked for Vogue in London, and they really did not want to print her work. They did not think the people in London would appreciate it. So she ended up, I believe, if I remember correctly, she sent her pictures to Vogue in America, and I believe they did print them there.
Yes, in the film they talk about that.
Right. Which is fantastic that at least they printed them. I kept sitting there watching and saying, how in the world did she how did she develop the pictures? Because back in those days, you had to have a dark room and do all this different stuff. And then she had to type the description or whatever of the picture on top of it all. I mean, just blew my mind how she did that. And I think everyone should see this movie, and I can't believe that it's not been available. Because I know there was a bit of nudity, but oh well. If they give it an R rating, okay, then we know that, but it's still very fantastic. And those are my words, and that's my view.
Why do you always say that now? That's your thing. That's my view, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, that's me.
Ma Henshaw loves her cookies.
Ma loves her cookies. Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
So were you offended by the breasticles?
No.
That's good.
I mean, I think she's pretty perky for being 48. Pretty good job.
Are you judging Kate Winslet's cans?
No, I mean, I think she's still built quite good, as was I at her age. They didn't start sinking until I was in my 60s. There you go. But we don't want to know that. Anyway.
I don't.
Thank you. Okay. Well, anyway. And Andy was very good. He went with her, I believe. I still don't know exactly. What was his... did he work for another paper? Or wait, I can't remember. Yeah.
Yes, he worked for Life. And Life wasn't Paper
Right.
Mama's magazine.
Right. I know Life was a magazine. I just threw away my last Life magazines, but I kept my Newsweek magazines of the moonwalk. So at least I have a few historic magazines left. Well, too bad.
I'm not super happy that you threw away the Life magazines, Mom, because that's like one of the last vestiges of photojournalism this country has had.
I had no idea at all. I just was needed to clean out old stuff, and I have lots of old stuff. Oh, well. Anyway, I'm sorry I did. Yeah.
And you could have had photographs in magazines that people have not seen for a very long time and would love to see. But hey, it is what it is. I'm sure they have them at Life still. Oh, wait, Life doesn't exist anymore.
Well, yeah. Does Newsweek exist?
Yeah, Newsweek exists, but Newsweek was not the photojournalism platform that Life was.
No, probably just the cover of Newsweek. I think they had
No, most of the covers of Newsweek were cartoons. Some photographs, but no. Mom, the last good, long-standing photojournalism magazine was Life.
Yeah.
Gone.
It's so sad. That's true.
Well, and you threw it out just like the country threw away Life magazine.
Yeah, and that's wrong. It's so sad. I know. But, well, anyway, I thought this movie was just amazing, and I hope everyone goes to see it and supports it if they know that it's coming to their cinema somewhere. And I'm going to give it 4.5 cookies.
That's not true. You gave it 4.
I did.
On the radio.
Back it up then. All right. I'll give it 4. But anyway, there was one thing I had an issue with. Which
you even said it last night when we were talking on the phone. You only gave it 4. Man, you must be drunk again. Ma, are you drunk?
Yes, I had my margarita today. That's what it is.
Yeah, but you had it at 9 o'clock in the morning. You can't be drunk now.
No, I had it at like 2 o'clock. It's a tequila. There you go. Anyway, I had issues about the videos of when she was in England, because London was very demolished and there was so much rubble and icky stuff, and they didn't really show that. I guess her home didn't get touched, but I sort of thought they should have did a little bit there, but that's why I downgraded a little bit. Well, anyway, that's my view, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay.
If you remember, Mom, she was just getting started when the bombing was first starting. And so when the bombing would have taken place and what you call is rubble and destruction of London, she was overseas already.
I'm talking about when she came home from the war. But they didn't.
Who said that she went to London?
Oh, okay. She may not have. All right.
Right. Her husband was working. He was doing the war effort as well. He was a soldier.
Right.
There's nothing that said they met at home.
Well, anyway, okay. But anyway, that's my cookies. So that's what I'm saying. Okay?
Okay.
I said, but whatever.
Well, what movie are we watching next week?
We are watching Friday the 13th, number 5.
Okay, Friday the 13th, part 5, A New Beginning.
Oh.
For the Harvest Horror Fest, episode number 2 of 2024. Are you happy now that you get to watch your horror movies?
Yes, because I have a thing that I put out every year on Halloween, and it plays the creepy organ music, and I'm going to play it when I'm watching Friday the 13th.
Why can't you just watch the movie and listen to the soundtrack of the movie?
I will. I'll play that before I play the movie or something. It will help with the ambiance. Okay.
All right. Well, what else would you like to add for your podcast? Or are you done?
My only thing is everyone needs to go see this movie because Kate Winslet was awesome. The movie was awesome, and go see it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of Ma and Child Loses Her Cookies, number 84, I believe. The Harvest Horror Fest returns next week. I'm sure Mike and I will have a lot more insight than Ma does. She just likes watching teenagers being murdered by a man in a hockey mask. But thanks again, everyone. We will see you then.
Bye.